G'day Flexes, Coach Big Nick here, and today I want to talk to you guys about whether exercise is actually good for fat loss. So, is exercise good for fat loss? Well, hopefully by watching this video you'll be able to answer that question. To lose fat, we need to create a calorie deficit. Now, if you don't know what a calorie deficit is, you probably need to stop paying Weight Watchers or Slimming World and start actually listening to people who know what they're talking about. But a calorie deficit isn't the be all and end all. Calorie deficit is easy to say, but it's not that easy to achieve. So you need to move more or eat less. But that's not really helpful information. Everybody knows that. The first thing people do when they want to lose weight is join the gym or start a diet. Consuming less energy is one way to create a calorie deficit, and so is expending more energy. Now, consuming less energy pretty much comes down to diet. And as you can tell by the title of this video, we're not really going into diet today. We're going into the exercise. So we're going to talk about expending more energy and what comes under expending energy. So energy expenditure. Let's take a closer look at what comes under that. First, you've got your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. Now, there's not really much you can do to affect this. It will move up and down depending on many different factors, but the biggest one is your body weight. So for whatever reason you wanted to increase your BMR, you would have to gain weight. That's usually the opposite of what you're trying to do by increasing your BMR. If you wanted to decrease your BMR, you could lose weight. You could also spend too long in a calorie deficit. Just something to think about. The next thing is TEF, or your thermic effect of food. Now, the effect that TEF has on your total calorie expenditure, your energy expenditure, is pretty minimal. But if you want to know more about it, I did a video on this YouTube channel about TEF and how you can manipulate it. Next up we have NEAT. So NEAT is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. The key word there being non is not a word. The key prefix there being non. Whatever. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So that is stuff you're not planning to do, okay? Going for a walk to burn calories doesn't come under NEAT, although your general steps like moving around the office at work or climbing the stairs or whatever, that would come under NEAT. So it's non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's the calories you burn, the energy you burn by moving around, doing things, getting out of bed, brushing your teeth, walking to the bus stop, whatever you do, that would come under NEAT. Your exercise activity thermogenesis, which is the next factor in your total energy expenditure, is planned, structured, calorie burning exercise. Okay, you're doing it for a reason. Now, in many cases, that reason is to burn calories. Is that the right reason? We'll probably find out by the end of this video. So why does this matter? So of all those things I just listed, you can potentially influence your TEF. Again, see the other video. You can potentially influence your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, but by intentionally doing it, you kind of are taking away the non-exercise part. So can you influence NEAT? Your EAT, not eating, EAT. EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis, that is the one that you can influence the most, all right? So how can we influence our EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis? Well, the debate has been going for as long as people have been doing CrossFit, whether cardio or lifting weights burns more calories. Now, they have different uses. I think a good exercise routine should include both of them, whether it be cardio on a treadmill or walking around outside, doesn't really matter. A good exercise, a healthy exercise routine should include both some resistance training and some cardio. Let me tell you something. When it comes to burning calories, when it comes to expending more energy, lifting weights and doing cardio are not created equal. Let's look at a typical weight training session. A typical weight training session will involve more resting than actual training. You probably go hard for 30 seconds, maybe a minute if you're doing really long sets, and then you're resting for 5, 6, 7 times longer than that. You repeat this over and over for the full hour or half an hour, whatever the duration of your session is. You repeat this, and then at the end you might come out with, let's say you did 20 sets. That's about 20 minutes of work in what was probably a 2-hour plus session. They've performed studies on weight training to see how many calories you actually burn in a session, and it turns out that it's not that much. On average, during a weight training session, people burn around 3 calories per minute. Now, 3 calories per minute is better than sitting there doing nothing. However, it's definitely not as good as cardio, as you'll find out in a second. But on average, for a full weight training session in the studies that I've seen, they're talking about like no more than 250 calories per session. Now, this is a standard weight training session where you work and then you rest. You can modify that by doing things like supersets or giant sets or CrossFit or whatever to burn more calories, but as we'll get to later in this video, if your sole purpose of exercise is burning calories, then you probably need to find a different type of exercise. Now, we've seen that weight training probably doesn't burn as many calories as we thought it would, but does cardio fare any better? Well, looking at similar duration sessions, a medium intensity cardio session would probably burn 3 to 4 times as many calories as the weight training session. So already you're looking at your best effort weight training session versus your medium effort cardio session. You're getting more bang for your buck as far as burning calories from your cardio session. Now, if you wanted to increase your intensity of your cardio session, you could go anywhere up to like 8 times as many calories as you would burn in your weight training session. The data on this is in constant intensity, so you would have to work pretty damn hard for that full duration. So I know what you're thinking. What about after the session? What about the hours afterwards? What about the rest of the day? Tomorrow? Surely you're burning more calories after a weight session. And you are. Compared to not having done the weight session, you will continue to burn more calories for the rest of the day. However, you get that from cardio as well. By finishing your session, you don't automatically drop your heart rate and take everything back to normal. You will burn more calories for the rest of the day from a weight training session, also from a cardio session. The difference has been as small as 7 calories in total, not just per hour. The other thing you do post-workout is eat. So what about your appetite? After a weight training session, a lot of people report, anecdotally of course, that they're not as hungry after a weight training session as they are after a cardio session. And this is pretty much true. There's even data to show that people have a higher appetite after a cardio session than they do after a weight training session. But this data is limited to just that post-workout window. What happens later? So there's actually studies out there that show that people that are part of the study go to the post-workout meal or the post-workout data collection, whatever they do, and they're not hungry, they don't eat, but then they go home and eat the rest of those calories later, sometimes even exceeding the amount of calories they burn in the session. So it's not just the afterburn of your training, it's also the after effect on your appetite. If you maybe skipped a meal so you could go do fasted cardio, yeah, maybe you didn't eat that meal and you weren't hungry afterwards, but then later on you're probably going to be bloody hungry because you skipped a meal, you're having less calories. So which one of these is better for fat loss? Lifting weights or cardio? And I guess it kind of depends. If you have really good control over your appetite, you can eliminate that as being an after training component. You can just go back to your normal eating and not have to worry about it. If maybe you're just joining the gym or going for a run to lose some weight and you're not controlling your diet as well, you may come back from that and undo all of your hard work just in one meal or even one snack. Now, of course, one thing I want to stress is that the point of exercise shouldn't be to burn calories. It shouldn't be to create this energy deficit. It can, but that shouldn't be the sole purpose. If you are doing exercise, it probably should be to, I don't know, gain muscle, increase your performance, maybe increase your overall health, maybe just for enjoyment. There's all these reasons you could be doing exercise, and probably at the bottom of that list would be to burn calories. Now, yes, it can be done. Should it be done? Should we be creating this relationship between exercise and weight loss? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's causing more problems. I don't know. But let's get to the whole point of this video. Remember, the title is exercise good for fat loss? Not, is weight training or cardio better? And I would say, on a whole, yes, exercise can be good for fat loss in conjunction with other behaviors that are good for fat loss. I think looking at exercise on its own for fat loss could be missing the forest for the trees. You could be doing all this exercise and then other parts of your lifestyle actually let you down, or maybe even cause you to gain weight. Have I answered the question in this video? Probably not. However, maybe I've given you something to think about or something to look into, and if you have any questions, you can damn sure hit the comments below. So, if you've liked this video, please give it a like. If you like this type of video, please subscribe. It's down here somewhere. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit the comments down below. Tell us what you want to see. Until next time, ciao. Burning less calories for